the University of Genoa, Italy, and I'm presenting a joint research written by myself and Dr. Martinez on the energy transition and the impact on the port industry. This research is just started and has been generously funded by special funds connected with the University of Genoa. What I'm presenting here are some preliminary outcomes from the first steps of this research. Hopefully, it will be a good opportunity to kick off a discussion on the topic, on the subject matter, and to promote collaboration and cooperation on the topic. You know, to deal with this, I'm gonna discuss a bit of energy transition and ports, how we are organizing the study, and obviously some preliminary findings. First of all, a bit of general trends and the role of ports within these general trends in the maritime industry. Obviously, we have a vessel size increase, we have alliances and cooperation, we have the environmental agenda, we do have more digitalization and automation within our industries that obviously is all connected with where is the energy transition, where the energy transition is positioning itself within these mega trends that we are experiencing. And if we look at that, obviously mega vessels, cooperation among carrier, the automation of vessels and terminals, the digitalization, they are all connected with the different consumption pattern in terms of energy, new propulsion system, new energy consumption pattern, that obviously might generate issues in terms of environmental performance for both carriers and ports. And because of that, it's all connected with the energy transition and with the long-term goals of achieving what the United Nations has called Agenda 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and so on and so forth. And because of that, many areas of the world are regulating the markets, are incentivized energy, it's called energy transition. And for instance, in Europe, we did have the Green Deal that was focusing also on maritime markets, and the recovery funds that are connected with the post-pandemic markets are all concentrated and focused also in the energy transition element. But the key element here is the fact that why it's obvious the importance of the topic, the current knowledge on the impact of the transition on ports, on investment, the competitive environment, the potentiality of distorting current competition pattern, the cost opportunities, etc., is relatively understudied. There are a lot of things connected with the technology, and we'll define a bit of that. There are a lot of studies on ship-related elements, but from the port perspective, there is still a bit of unknown issues that might actually drive investments in the future, that might generate opportunities for many ports, and they might actually create problems for the ports that are not capable of correctly positioning themselves in the new competitive arena. Because of that, we started this research through a literature review, content analysis of what ports are doing, and we will follow that up with survey and interviews aiming at achieving the goals of this research that is answering exactly these challenges, is proposing guidelines and a path towards this new competitive environment, defining different opportunities for different ports depending on cargo and depending on size and geographical location. We kicked off obviously this research assessing the innovative patterns that the port sector is experiencing, and this is really relevant because a lot of that are changing the energy consumption. Today, most of innovation solutions are connected with smart ports, but a key element in smart technology, of smart policy, of smart strategies is definitely how you use your resources in a smart way, achieving multidimensional goals, among which the energy performance. And this has been often understudied. The idea is obviously investing, achieving savings, not in traditional cost items, but as complementary targets. And this is impacting the energy balance of ports. And this is really key for the future development of ports. If we look at the first part of our research, the literature review and the desktop assessment. In the last few years, there have been hundreds of papers connected with innovation and ships, innovation and ports, and different obviously keywords can be used for this assessment. More or less 200 papers have investigated things that are connected with energy and energy transitions. The majority of them is really recent. Most of it has as primary keywords the fact that are connected with the ship and the ship port interface. So they studied that bit, not the changes that energy could generate from a port perspective and port point of view. A lot of them are focused on hard technologies, and only recently, really recently, there is an issue in understanding how energy patterns will change because of the introduction of the so-called soft technologies, such as the AI, the robotics, the blockchain, etc., etc., etc. As soft technology, not the hard one, not the automation of terminal, but as the use of new elements that will impact performance at the end of the day. And how is this impacting ports? This is the key elements that we would like to explore, as mentioned. In the literature review, energy transition can seen as a generator of challenges, of changes that needs to be dealt by ports. But how ports are adapting to these new trends, that is completely unknown. If we look at main websites, obviously there are initiatives, but most of these initiatives are connected with environmental performance rather than energy performance. We have looked particularly EU port websites that definitely are investing in the subject topic, but not as a priority, but as an incidental element to achieve other kind of goals. And this is often connected with the fact that is governments and regional stakeholders are pushing to a better environmental performance, and environmental planning is obviously connected with energy. But there is relatively little that is done in order to understand if this energy transition will generate business opportunities, new business model, new services to the logistic providers and the ship owners, obviously. And again, there is kind of a lack of elements that are directly investigated and pursued by local port stakeholders, and there are more connection with regional and national policies. As such, initiative, incentives, etc., 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 are done in order to achieve a bigger picture of environmental performance, and not rather to take advantage of this potential transition. And this obviously is connected with the fact that there is a potential marketing and network advantage in doing so, but there is obviously a bit of a problem, and obviously there is poor governance elements. This does not mean that obviously we cannot see many issues happening in terms of energy transition. There are a lot of investments. They are just driven by more wider planning rather than specific potential advantages that can be generated by that. And there is a lack of a overall strategy around these elements. And this is, in my opinion, and for what we have found, really a huge gap that needs to be filled in, because otherwise there is a possibility to lose opportunities. And this is kind of kicking off the second part of our research that is connected on how this is impacting the ports, how these can generate challenges, opportunities as well. And obviously the reorganization of port processes is definitely connected with the path dependence issue and potential costs on the one hand, but with the potential of gaining operational advantages. And this is also linked with the governance. We have assessed how, for instance, different forms of governance impact the possibility to generate incentive, to discriminate from a taxation point of view different operators that have different energy performance or that do invest in the energy sector in order to increase competitiveness. It's a lot about marketing, but it's not about the potential future opportunities. Because of that, we are obviously kicking off the primary data collection with survey, interviews, etc. Hopefully, you will see our survey going on, and you will be interested in participating and collaborating with us in order to answer the further stage of question. And this is really, really relevant and important. How is port competition changed thanks to this new energy solution? How is this new technology generate modification and impact the energy performance? This is the key elements, and how different sectors of the ports, of the shipping, of the logistics are adapting to this. Thank you very much. I hope you are interested in the topic. I hope you have an interest in cooperating with us. We are looking forward to that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Manu? Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Good
Hello,
afternoon.
Alessio. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah,
Hi.
nice
Hi.
meeting you
Hello.
here online. I suppose that your location is in Genoa now, joining us online. Am I right? Yeah, even
You're
the
right.
virtual background is Singapore. Yeah. So it will be also very early morning for you. Am I right?
Yeah. Not too early.
Okay. So thanks a lot. And we already listened to your presentation. Now will be question and answer. Any questions? All right, so I will ask the first question. I think energy transition at ports. This is very interesting, and I have a lot of interest in this as well. Could you let us know or comment on which kind of, for example, energy or energy sources or any fields that in your research that you think is more promising?
Well,
in the port sector, in the port sector particularly?
Yes. So what we found out, at least in our preliminary assessment, is that there are many sources that are currently under investigation, depending on the port environment and the national policies. So there are certain ports that are investing heavily, for instance, in hydrogen, certain others that are using wind farms, obviously, to power their electrifications of different activities. But if you are using that and you are linking that to the energy that they need to provide to shipping company or to logistic providers, that is quite interesting, because it strictly depends on the specific geographical location and the main shipping clients that are served by the ports. So for instance, obviously, there are a lot of ports that are readapting their logistics in order to provide LNG, and they are completely neglecting hydrogen, because in the main clients, from both logistic point of view or the shipping point of view, these is not much relevant. And there is an issue somehow, because obviously you have classic economy of scale whenever you are investing in new infrastructure, and you need to rethink your logistics of the energy distribution. And in that sense, the fact that there is no key standard or core energy, but a variety of sources, a variety of research projects that are running at the moment, is actually making certain kind of investments inefficient, because again, there is no clear direction at the moment, and this is why we thought it was relevant to understand what obviously industry is doing, but also what ports can do in order to somehow define what is the optimal strategy in this situation, and if there are potential business opportunities in this ongoing situation that is completely unexplored at the moment.
And I wonder, how about for Italy? Is there any energy source that stands out or which is more promising?
At the moment, no. In the past years, we invested heavily in LNG. That is not relatively new. There are some ports that are trying to enter the hydrogen market, but at the moment it's quite funny, because traditionally we could have the capacity to produce wind related energy, but no ports is investing with that, because a lot of ports are within city center, and therefore they think that wind farms could damage the image of the city or their tourism related activities, and as such there is huge issues in investing in classic traditional renewable energy sources, while hydrogen and LNG are thought to be less impacting in the overall environment. Again, and obviously they are more used for certain key sectors such as cruise, that is heavily investing, at least the ships that are deploying in the Mediterranean have heavily invested in LNG. So there is this kind of trends at the moment.
Thanks. Anything to add from any participants? No? Okay. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And thank you. Put our hands together.
Thank you very much.